congratulations. Tomorrow somebody's going to get up and they're going to get the cereal and you're not going to get shit. They're going to early bird you because they know how to play the game and you don't. That is what has to happen. That's what has to happen for shit to change. You tack investigation, understanding an issue, having a goal, having talking points, having facts that people can always resort to, having organization, having a bunch of people together that are on message will get you way further. All right. Okay, so this is just some of my issues with certain aspects of coverage. It doesn't mean, by the way, if I have an issue with something, it doesn't mean I find it completely wrong. I'll say that if it's completely wrong. I think there's just hiccups in the way that certain things are discussed. And I think especially for the lefties, especially for like the ones who are like tend to be near a certain equestrian thought leader's content cycle, massive assumptions based on nothing seem to be kind of par for the course, and I think that they can really lead the accuracy of your portrayal astray, because you'll set yourself up where you get into positions that you can't defend because like what literally you can prove isn't there. So if you're trying to prove malfeasance on somebody's part and you're saying most certainly this is happening, it's a little off. And I think almost everything, this is going to go to campus protests and stuff. I think almost everything with campus protests has been overvalued and like kind of blown out of proportion a little bit. I personally don't care that much about campus protests. If you do it, good for you. If it succeeds in something, that's wonderful. That's wonderful for you. But I went to college, which I think a weirdly large amount of people that are highly for the college protests did it. And you understand, there's protests on college campuses every fucking day once it gets warm. And sometimes when it's not. And they're not all for like whatever thing. I think I remember one of the biggest ones while I was going to UC was a counter-abortion protest. The abortion people come in with these gigantic signs, right? And they have like little SpaghettiOs looking like fetuses and shit. And they're like, oh, this is what you're killing kind of bullshit. And they're gigantic signs. It fucks up the vibe of everything. You also have, if you've never been there, campus preachers that say all sort of insane shit to people. They're provocative, but these people all fucking like secure an area, basically, even if it's a very visible area. They secure an area and they sort of stay out of everyone's way. They make their point and then they fucking move on. For how effective that is and how ineffective that is, it kind of depends. It seems like almost every time they incense a lot of people, and a lot of times they do manage to get people to act violent to them. Most notably to me was this one guy who would preach with a big fucking cross. This is University of Cincinnati's campus. And one time the crowd, who was ostensibly highly lefty, highly equality and shit, lost their minds and started trying to like run around behind him and steal his hat and slap on him and shit. And it had to be like quelled because it's like, you guys can't do that. That's first off what he wants to do. And also like calm the fuck down. Like, what are you achieving kind of deal. I think the weirdest part about it is definitely the calling like Ivy League students who are financially secure, you know, like massive heroes for just sitting around on campus. There's a lot of other shit that you can do. If it changes shit and, you know, there's polls that prove that specific thing changed stuff, hey, good for you. I'm just not, I don't have it in me. I'm not going to tell you to stop. I just don't have it in me to also be like, kind of repeating a lot of these lines where like, these people are heroes. This is the thing that's going to change the world. And it's like, there's a bit of a narrative there that's kind of weird that, you know, thank God, like, I don't know, rich kids finally got their ass kicked for a second so people will take notice. I don't know. But They had a whole street covered in posters of fetuses. Yeah, basically. That was my place too. The counter protest for that was a campus women's group who all took close-up pictures of their vaginas in a day and blew those up massively and stood by them and talked about reproductive rights, which also very provocative and also, fucked up some people's trips to the lunchroom that day. It just is what it is. I don't think also that should have been stopped. With the protests on various campuses, I'm not gonna, if I kind of misspeak about it, don't worry. I'm trying to get to a gist of things. I think there is an aspect of intentional blind spotting when it comes to seeing lefties protest as a lefty that you don't extend across the board. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine and also bad and also fine and also bad, kind of depending on how you're approaching it. I think if you go on campuses and you protest and you even do sit-ins and you sort of break the rules, that's generally okay. If you impede people's abilities to get to places, that is not okay, because you're getting in people's way, right? And that's if they did the same thing to you, you would think that it was bad. And so you're breaking the social contract basically at that point. Because on the flip side, if like a whole righty organization was there, and then they blocked your path to get somewhere, you would say that this is completely fucking bad, right? Obviously, yes, because it is. The saying just, I can do what I want because of the moral imperative of my action and not understanding the negative impact of it is being reactionary. I hate to, that is what it is. It's saying like, oh, what we do is ontologically good, so it's always going to be good. And just ignoring the fact that if you articulate it as, oh no, fuck them, we're blocking up the campus because fuck them, we're not moving until, we will not be moved, is okay. I get it. Like, I understand as far as a moral argument for why I'm doing it. That makes sense. But with a lot of this lefty conversation around it, it seems like people are trying to mealy-mouth mush their way into saying, no matter what I do, it's good because I'm on the right side of history, which I keep hearing I'm on the right side of history, which is always sort of suspicious because as a motivation, the promise of a inevitable promised land, a sort of idea of a heaven to come is just, it smacks to me of not being very dissimilar to saying like, I will seek my rewards in heaven. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the future will look kindly upon me is always a little bit sus. Doesn't mean that these people are ontologically evil or that I don't even agree with their cause. I just think you need to be a little bit more straightforward with yourself. When it comes to doing stuff that you should get your ass kicked for, because like that's what's going to be the result. Like if you take over a building, or if you try to impinge on property rights, which are sacrosanct in America, right? That's the law of the land. If you break it, the cops are going to come in and fuck you up. If you say we're doing this because we want to articulate how violent the cops are, whatever, blah, 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 you're kind of 50-50 because you're baiting people into doing shit, which I understand is part of, other people's way to approach it back in the day. But lumping on top of it, I'm literally doing crimes because understand, impeding people's travel is criminal, right? That is, and doing it in a large scale can be a large scale criminal act, like blocking off egress zones. So if they're even permitting you to do that without immediately fucking you up, that's bad. That's kind of nice on their part. But if you go and you try to take over a building, you're probably going to get cracked at some point. It's not like a good for or worse. I would say the same thing no matter kind of who's doing it. Just like, that's not your building. You took it over and you said, I'm not going to give the building back until you give me something. And then they're going to say, well, what I'm going to give you is a fucking couple rights and a left. Get the fuck out of the building. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, you can say like, I'm preaching nonviolence, but you're putting someone else in a position where they're like, well, a violent solution to this immediately solves it for the people who have the right to solve it that way based on the laws of the land. That's not even in the argument that you're having, you're kind of, and then kind of pissing and moaning like, I can't believe that this happened to people, blah, 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 blah. With Emma Vigeland specifically, I was watching the majority of reports on it. There's a lot of weird ageist language that I don't understand the point of. Like, these children, these literal babies, are like 18 to 24-year-olds. We saw them getting drubbed on by 25 to 35-year-olds. And it's like, what does their age have to do with it? They're paid to do that. Like, the cop wasn't ever thinking like, fuck, these are like younger people. They're physically the same age. If anything, I would say that generally 20 to 25-year-olds have a bit of an advantage, with all due respect to me, over people that are 32 to like 38. You're actually in a better position to fuck me up if you've been in shape. So I don't understand it. And it's not that I don't understand it. It's I do understand it. I just don't agree with your interpretation of the events, so to say. And if people are saying, don't worry, I'm going to come back and I'll like hear you guys out here in chat for a second. And I think when you kind of start off with the belief in the ontological morality of the cause, and you don't ever pay special heed to the actions and the degree to which the actions support the cause and can create long-term sustainability after the fact, you will open yourself up to situations where you just start talking kind of out of your ass and just assuming that the worst possible things are always happening. You will turn into a reactionary because you will have supplanted the logical understanding of whatever the fuck is going on, actually trying to assess situations from a materialist standpoint into assessing them from an ideological standpoint and just saying bad thing has happened because good was impeded. And that's very simplistic. And you're like, oh, well, fuck, but I'm the right one. But like, think about it. Would that still be an argument? Is that an argument that's going to convince people that don't agree with you? No, because it's your morality versus their morality. If their morality says, no, that doesn't seem right, then that argument's gone. So you have to be able to argue it from a position of this is going to achieve an end. This is the issue with saying, like, I can do whatever the fuck I want because of the bad problem at hand. You know, I'm sorry, I'm sitting in the road at rush hour, right? Isn't it bad that fucking Palestinian kids are dying? You're like, well, first off, the road moving is not killing the Palestinian kids. It's just not. The amount of fucking like backflip and judo that you have to do to get to like, well, you see the mechanics of capitalism are working. So like there's a possibility that someone in this traffic is driving down the street in order to work at a factory that supplies the cog, that supplies the screw making machine that crafts the bullet that will eventually one day kill a Palestinian kid. Like, yeah, you of course, any stoppage in this gigantic machinery is anti-capitalist, but is that stoppage actually doing as much good as almost any other thing that you can be doing? You know, think of it logically, because, you know, this is your time, it's other people's time. Try to boil it down. So this kind of leads me to this slightly off Demon Mama tweet. I don't think Demon Mama's like dumb or anything for it. I just think it's bad analysis. So am I ready? Boom. Yeah. Oh, god damn it. My fucking stream deck doesn't work. God damn it. And like I said, I'll talk to you guys all here in a second after I get through this, because I think there's like worthwhile conversations. I don't want to fucking pedagogue to you all and say like I'm fucking unassailable. This is the original post first, because she did it. UCLA cops are removing the masks from the protesters so they can't hide from their parents, neighbors, future employers. Okay. I don't think that that's the case. I would need. I don't. What does it say? How does it sound? This is Fox News, so it's probably not going to be any of the cops talking.
That are just watching our kids become radicalized, say things that are anti-American, post other flags that aren't the American flag, say that our cops are part of the KKK. There's a
is that Eric, whatever his name is, from New York, whatever it is. But in any case, the cops have to take your mask off, by the way, when they arrest you. You can't, you're not Batman. I feel like I have to say this. You're not Batman. You're not Batman. You're not also Spider-Man. You're not a superhero. All right? The cops can't take an anonymous person into custody like the fucking Joker. They have to see your fucking face so they know who's going into jail. It's part of processing. So they just can't keep your mask on. If you're saying like, well, at right-wing protests they did, those cops did, that was wrong and they should not have done that. That was bad. Attack that angle. But like, yeah, you get, and you're like, oh, Tyler, you're fucking playing it. I don't really give a shit. You have no right to anonymity, and as a matter of fact, you don't want it. You don't want anonymity when you get arrested. This is like this is a particularly 2024 argument, particularly for online people, because this is antithetical to what people were saying like 50 or 60 years ago. It was like, we need to know who they arrested. They're not telling us who got arrested. You know, you want to know who's being taken to the jail. If there's a presumption because these are Columbia students that they're going to get, I think, no, this is UCLA. Whatever, UCLA, Columbia, my bad, I get them mixed up. The argument, regardless, that these students are being fucking like unmasked for nefarious purposes, they were going to get unmasked regardless. This is a Fox News camera that's sitting next to the paddock. You can see this. They have all of these people. Let's see. They have all these people being taken out of these buildings, right? So this is the exit. They have them roped up. They have this whole little area. See this? This is the officers. So they got a paddock. They're going to walk everyone here to the fucking van that they're pulling out. All of this is the protesters' area that's been cleaned. The press have the right to stand here because it's a free fucking country and they want to film what the fuck's going on. So while you're standing being arrested, if you get arrested in public, the press can film you. That's a good thing. That is a good thing because articulate logically the opposite scenario. Think about it. Think about all the other countries where people just fucking vanish after a protest. This is the best possible situation. It is fucking ridiculous. That's a perp walk. That's not a perp walk. That's not a perp walk. It just isn't. Perp walks are from the station. They're at the scene of the fucking crime. You're at the scene of the crime. Like, this is where you're doing the thing that they're arresting you for, which is probably criminal trespass, because if they tell you to get the fuck out of the building or get the fuck out of an area, the cops have the right to tell you that. You do not have special dispensation unless you have signed authorization from the fucking state ahead of time to stay places when the cops say leave. You might not like it. You might not like it. It might be antithetical to the glory of your cause. But they have the right. The state has the right to take you away. They have the right to kick you off of that area. They have the right, definitely, to drag you out of a building you don't have permission to be in. That's trespass. If everyone on the other side of things knows that they can take a camera there and embarrass you because your dumb ass is about to be dragged out in fucking handcuffs because of what you did, then that's their right as Americans. I'm sorry, get fucked. This idea that dumb fuck anarchists have, and I'm saying this personally, you are a dumb fucking moron if you have this, that people at protests shouldn't say who they are, shouldn't be photographed, it should be able to exist as a nebulous, anonymous force for whatever the fuck they imagine, is stupid as shit. It is bad. It is literally the tool of Nazis. Nazis did it first, right? Because they were articulating, and I say this sort of in response, this future employers thing. That the fucking, we have to cover our faces up because the fucking the fucking Zog machine, the Zion operated government, the Jewish fucking mass control of the economy will identify us and fire us, right? Which, by the way, a bunch of you lefties fucking did fire people. Dubious morality on that. Because sometimes y'all fucking get it wrong on both sides. People fucking like hyperdox. But if you're out in public doing something, if you're engaging in your First Amendment right to protest, you have fundamentally not just no right whatsoever to tell other people that they can't they can't engage in their First Amendment right. You should be 100% in support of that, because that mutual support is part of the social contract of us protecting this so-called sacred right to protest. Your protest, just because it's ontologically good to you, does not by any way, shape, or form give you the ability to protest with different rules than everybody else has to follow. There's a reason the cops don't beat the fuck out of the goddamn neo-Nazis. Can you think of why? Can you think of why? Because they fucking walk back and forth after getting a goddamn... They ask for a permit. They walk back and forth. They don't talk to anybody. And then they fucking leave. Or they go to a place where they outnumber the cops. And they insinuate that they might engage in violence. That's just good. That's good planning. Sorry. Sucks to fucking say. But if you look historically, if you want to go back, oh, but what about this? What about that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, go all the way back to when they started doing it. They played the game that well the first time. Maybe of all the tactics that you should try to do, it's not getting away with crimes that you can't get away with because you have no bargaining power. If you say the only way I'm going to leave an area or stop protesting is if you give me what I want, and what I want is more than they have to give you because they can fucking have you thrown out by your ass and ears, they're going to do that. So just accept that reality and work around it in some way. Literally, and I can't express this enough. Just leave and come back. I know it sounds fucking insane. Go away and come back. Because when has any of the camping out and leaving a gigantic cluttered fucking mess done anything? People are like, this is just like Occupy in 2010, 2011. Occupy failed. Occupy failed and was an embarrassment. I was talking about that 2 weeks ago. It was a failed movement. It led to other things because some people learned how to do political they got exposure, but the actual sitting in a fucking area to get Wall Street to stop Wall Streeting was a failure. It was just a failure, right? The just sitting around and yelling at people and trying to do an occupation of an area with no weapons and no weapons, no organization, by being an anonymous, nebulous fucking org that says, oh no, you have to refer all questions to my spokesperson. First off, you're engaging. By the way, I know people are like, it's a really good idea to say I have a guaranteed spokesperson, blah, 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 that you have to defer to. If you're at one of these protests, I'm telling you right now, if you are at one of these protests and you are all dressed the same or similarly, and you say to a police officer that we are organized and that guy's in charge, you better trust that motherfucker with your entire life, because you are now engaged in activity that can lead to RICO prosecution because you are fucking an organization. By the way, you are no longer individual protesters. When you start saying, we have one person, go talk to them every time because I'm scared of getting fucking, I don't know, dunked on by fucking Caitlyn Poop Pants Bennett. Keep in fucking mind, you are now an organization. If you are dressed the same, if you articulate that you have a leader, if multiple people in a giant section of area that look the same and say they have a leader all say that same thing a few times to the cops are going to have no reason whatsoever to not assume that you are an organization. When you commit crimes as that organization, you will now be a criminal organization, just so you know. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen 100%. That doesn't mean it's not necessarily a good idea. There's a lot of political organizations that do that same thing. But understand, and I'm going to say this to any protesters that are going out there wearing masks, dumb fucks, if you could gather wearing masks in an area where other people that are dressed similarly to you are wearing masks so you can't identify them. If they start committing crimes near your organization where you've articulated a literal org chart where they can find the person who's going to talk to them, you are going to be considered a criminal organization, and you have set yourself up to get fucked. Because anyone else that dresses up like you could try to fuck you. This is the same sort of shit that happened to the Juggalos and why they have to keep shit tight as fuck. Tight as fuck. Because now you are all running around wearing keffiyehs because you're trying to do Hamas fucking cosplay. Maybe there's 3 or 4 of you, but the cops don't have to distinguish between wearing the keffiyeh on the face and wearing the keffiyeh over the fucking arms and stuff. When you start wearing all the same shirts, none of us are talking to you. We're remaining anonymous. Talk to our leader. Okay, well, what the fuck happened, Mr. Leader? Why couldn't you keep that guy over there from breaking windows? He was an outside actor. How do we know he's wearing a mask? Just so you know, you have no argument. Just so you know, you have no fucking argument. Because you'll have to argue against the people with the guns. You're arguing up at the state. You don't get the right to misbehave. By the way, you don't get the right to try to scare the police into fucking submission. They're there because you're the weak ones. I know that sounds crazy, but you're the ones that can get fucked up. Understand that. You are the ones at the bottom fucking peg. So if you try to do the shit that the top peg people do, they'll triple down on fucking you up. It's really hard. It's really hard when you're in an open carry state and there's people wearing fucking full flak jackets, fucking night vision goggles, and $3,000 worth of kit and ammunition. It's really hard to like get cops to go and say like, all right, push that guy the fuck out of here. The cops are gonna have to go, all right, well, hey man, we're getting fucking more people, you know, and we'll just try to talk to that guy. But when it's a bunch of college students that are built like fucking wet noodles, and you guys are trying to hold territory against a paramilitary force, you're gonna get your shit fucking pushed in. When they tell you to leave, just leave and then come back. If you're trying to get your ass kicked, say we're trying to get our ass kicked. But like the getting done with it and being like, I can't believe that this is just a mark of how violent America is. Like, dude, it's been happening for years. Okay? It's been happening fucking for years. And I can't feel as bad for people that are on fucking Ivy League campuses getting their shit kicked in. When I was in fucking Louisville watching the fucking NFAC go around with guns shooting up and down a fucking parade route, and that kept the cops from trying to kick everyone's ass, is a bunch of fucking just literally untrained psycho fucking black dudes with fucking machine guns driving around. Did I support 100% their tactics? I gotta say they fucked up a little bit, but did their people get their asses kicked 24/7? They did not. Oh my God. Tyler, how does your theory of change explicitly diverge from the protesters in terms of accomplishing their goals of having their universities divest of their investments in Israel? The thing is that is nebulous as fuck in the first place. But also, if I'm a college, here's how you do this. It's mathematics, right? Because colleges are capitalist instruments. It's the capitalist state. You have to be able to be more damaging to the fucking college. You have to be able to be more damaging to the college than the investments that they have are. So if they lose the investments, they lose $10. If they lose your tuition, they lose what? And so, like, Columbia University, UCLA, two of the most powerful and recognized countries or colleges in the nation. I don't know how many protesters are out there. And I also don't know. I don't know because I think I've heard this in a few cases. The fucking students that are protesting are just assuming that there's investments in Israel, and it's articulated as there is an investment in Israel, right? Like just I spend $1.10 goes directly to Benjamin Netanyahu, and he throws it into the fucking murder puddle, right? Whatever the fuck, which isn't the case. It's like you have like investments. You haven't done BDS through the entirety of every fucking investment that the school has. So the school has investments in like Pepsi products or whatever, or like they have investments in like, fucking Link Belt fucking construction equipment. Link Belt gets their belts manufactured by whatever IGMF stamping in fucking Pennsylvania, whose owner is like got 80% of the business tied up in Israeli investments and stuff. And you're trying to like disinvest. That is, first off, a crazy ask. I don't even know if you get it done, you get it. But I'm just saying, like, difficulty wise, to try to even articulate all of what it is wild, right? And it's so fucking nebulous that it sounds dumb as fuck. It just sounds like a stupid fucking thing. You understand? I'm not saying it's stupid as in like it's bad. It's just stupid and like I don't know how the fuck you think you're going to accomplish such a nebulous and like extreme goal with such kind of ignorable tactics. Like, yeah, Colombia looks bad right now. The second fucking Israel chills the fuck out, this whole fucking news cycle will probably end. The amount of pressure, and that's one of the most things, is that just the Bibi Netanyahu is just continuing the genocide endlessly, which is doing more for people being on your side of the cause than anything about protesting. It just, I don't, no one, people talk about like, this is just like when Columbia protesters did it in 1970 something. Like, did LBJ fucking give a fuck? You know what, like, did fucking Nixon like, oh my God, these Columbia protesters are going fucking ham out here. Time to reel it in, Spiro. Like, no, he's like, he probably called him fucking slurs, and there was other pressure in other directions. Doesn't mean don't protest. It doesn't mean don't be heard. Doesn't mean don't try to put on pressure. But just the assumption that being irritating on campus is going to cause the campus to lose its own money. They're just going to say, well, fuck. We're going to start divesting and shit. I didn't even understand what the fuck the protests were for other than they were protests. But they have a goal in mind is good. First off, if you have a goal, that's good. Usually it's for like something that's much more achievable, like the firing of a dean or, this, that, and the other. But like, unless, and even if, there's a possibility that the divestment that you're asking for might be contractually obligated. You know what I'm saying? So the college is going to be like, okay, well, we'll just have to put a fucking footnote in here that 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, when the contract's up, we're going to fucking say no to it. You know what I mean? It's an extremely bizarre and overreaching goal. And like, I'm mostly upset with people that are talking about it because I've heard newsheads, I've heard it talked about on the Majority Report, and they just, I don't know, glaze the protesters by saying it was a really good, this is really good, really fun, oh, it's an honest goal, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't know how the fuck it's going to be achieved. I've like, I'm listening to the people. This is your chance to talk about shit, and you can fucking barely articulate yourself. Like, thank God you picked the one fucking mushmouth to stand in front of the crowd and not articulate shit, or get your message out in any sort of way. Because all I see is you guys getting your asses kicked, which I'm mid about. Like, yeah, that was gonna happen. Why? Because you're protesting Israel. Okay, good, I guess. If you feel like it worked, it worked. If that's the sacrifice you want to make, fine. I don't think anyone gives a shit. But like, when I actually have heard like the legitimate hard goals, like, it doesn't leak up through other people's coverage of it. How it's going to happen, who specifically they're putting pressure on. I just keep seeing videos of you guys, from you guys, where you are not organized enough to have at least signs up. That's the one thing with the signs. You put the signs up so that no matter what, when they turn the cameras on, you can only see the signs. Write it on your fucking face and shit. You know what I mean? But like, I just keep seeing a bunch of like hooded people getting fucking tooled up by cops and trash and garbage and shit. The one time I saw cameras panning trying to get it, it was somebody written Free Palestine on an 8x10 piece of paper and taped it to a fucking gate. Like, okay. Yeah, Tyler, I don't really disagree with you, but sometimes it feels like you spend too much time shitting on the protesters instead of talking about what would be a better use of their time. Yeah, I mean, go to college. Like, if you have time to go to college, go to college. Is really the thing. Especially if you're a college student, go to college. Yeah. Because like, if you get kicked out of an Ivy League college, and I mean, I guess if you're rich enough to go to another one, then you should go to another one, which happens to people all the time. They get kicked out for all sorts of stuff, not just protests. They get kicked out for drugs or just being stupid. Go to college, and play the game inside of the system in a way that makes some fucking sense. Like if you burn your political engagement out as a 19-year-old, go and protest, get psyched. But if you're getting to a point where like you're letting other people get so excited that they're going to drag you into getting arrested and fuck your shit up, and then like if it's actually the case where your employment options are now like McDonald's or whatever, and you bought into the line like history's not going to look good on us if we do it now, like maybe you have to take the ugly, not sexy, boring as fuck option and go to college. Go to college. Get your poli-sci degree, get your rhetoric fucking English degree, do pre-med, or not pre-med, do pre-law, do whatever, and get actually involved in the political systems. All of this like penny ante, short change, getting your ass kicked by the cops only goes so far. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the people that people are trying to quote all the time, you go back to Fred Hampton and Martin Luther King, they're not going to tell you the only way forward is these protests and shit. And they're also probably, if you ask them personally, like, hey, as a college student who's going to an Ivy League school and has access to some of the highest echelons of power in America, do you think it's better that I fucking end my journey here in a one big burst of moral fucking righteousness? Or if I fucking like tamp down on that, control that heat, and then get myself involved as one of the true middle cogs of history? No, not a hero, but a person that's generally trying to steer the ship in a direction it actually should go. You know, that's the thing. Like, it's just there's a concept called burning the candle at both ends, or burning yourself out. And I keep seeing this in people politically, and they do it again and again. By the way, if you're a young person, you're doing these protests right now, understand, I have seen you before. I've seen you. You're not special. You're not unique. This happens. A lot of the people who are shitheel fucking dickheads now were hyper about Occupy. Oh, Occupy is going to be the biggest thing ever. Fucking Bernie Sanders 2012. It's going to be and they fucking morally burned themselves out, or politically burned themselves out by just over fucking putting or overspending all of their life's energy on just one fucking thing that they were like, well, you know, if I'm not going to go hard for this, when will I ever go hard? When will I blah, 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 blah. And you just buy into this mentality that like your life is going to end, I guess, at 25, or that like if you don't do it now, do it now, do it now. If you don't act without thinking, like fascists do, you're going to somehow fail people that you don't know. Like, if you can't articulate specifically to yourself what you are accomplishing in a materialist aspect, literally when I do this thing happens, and you can see the chain all the way down. If you ever have a moment where it's underpants gnomes for yourself about what's going on, consider strongly changing your direction. I did it. Kind of did before when he was talking about signs and suggesting the protesters going back and forth from campus. Yeah. Like, the thing is, it's not that you're not morally correct. It's not that you're not morally correct. I'm on your side. I believe it's the right side. But, is what you're doing going to get what you want to happen? You got to think about it. Like, just what, like, literally, I don't want to call in anyone specifically, but like, okay, taking over a building on a college campus, for instance, what in the fuck did you think was going to happen? Like, literally, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? From the way I heard it, listening through these things, these people thought that they were going to sit in the building and hold a building hostage until the board of a school got together and just started selling off assets or divesting somehow, which is so many underpants gnomes on the way to the end. First off, just materially, they're going to fuck you up. Just understand, if you're a fucking protester and you're on the short end of the stick and they can find a reason to fuck you up, they're going to fuck you up. All right? It does not help that a lot of you dumb fucks take that, like, Hassan ACAB energy out into the IRL. Hassan will not talk to a cop face to face the way he talks about them online. Understand that. He just won't, because a cop will beat his ass. They will fuck him up, and they might be in the right for it. Because first off, I don't have to... Fighting words are not protected speech. So just trying to psychologically assault someone into hitting you, and then they hit you, is your fault. And you can get fucking dunked on, because words do hurt sometimes, right? Are we on that side now, or is that going to get suspended until the end of your ontologically fucking valuable argument? I am on the moral side, so I can supersede it and just say mean shit. If you just start unloading on the cops immediately, for no fucking reason, just start, hey, cab, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. They don't have any reason not to fuck you up. They already kind of don't. But if you can actually drag them over to your side and make them feel bad for you, hopefully at least maybe they won't hit you as fucking hard. But also people that are going to like try to step in between people. If you have somebody that is out there and it's the bad cop, right? And you have somebody that's, hey, fuck you, pig, fuck you, you piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. When he beats that guy's ass and they go and ask about it, the dude who is a good cop is going to say like, hey man, like, why didn't you stop? I'm like, well, I don't know, fucking the kid was asking for it. And then later on, like, and that's going to be fine, by the way. I know, shit, that shouldn't happen. Oh, fuck. It feels like the real world is affecting my idea of what was going to happen. No, sorry, they're going to fuck you up. If you are nice, polite, professional, hi, we're here. We're going to be whatever, and you don't scream and piss and moan and take that fucking Hassan energy IRL where he wouldn't, it's going to be a lot harder to justify beating your fucking ass. But there's so many dumb fucks that get out there hopping around, jumping, screaming well before shit pops off. And you don't have, if you want to do that and you think you can actually fucking take the cops, do it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know when you think the fucking star level is going to go down, but you're basically playing GTA and you're not even allowed to pick up guns. Just understand that. If you set it up so that you actually look sympathetic, if you talk to people and people can see your face and they know that a human being is getting their ass kicked by a cop, instead of someone who literally looks like what we have fucking articulated in our mind as a terrorist for the last 20 years, you dumb fucks, then people might actually be on your fucking side, which is what you want. It's a popularity contest, and you are going to be fucking unpopular. You are going to be unpopular. It's easy. All you have to do is take a camera out there. That's why you guys don't want the cameras, because you guys are acting like fucking idiots. If I hear from a protest, oh, we don't want cameras over there. Oh, shit. Don't say anyone's name. Oh, fuck. Like, don't let anyone's ID out. What in the fuck? What in the fuck do you think people are going to assume? They're going to assume whatever is told to them by the other side, who is not wearing masks, who is using cameras, and who's going there and talking. You're not telling your side. There is no more value in having one person as a spokesperson for a media. It's always a good idea to have a singular spokesperson, but having everyone else be able to articulate themselves is much more important, because having nameless, faceless, unspoken people who just won't, I don't know, I just follow blindly some other person. I'm just a literal faceless cog in a machine. When do you think that that's going to be something that people fucking agree with? Like, you have to preemptively be on that side, because if you flip it in your mind. All right, now talk about Nazis. If someone's like, I don't talk to you, just talk to this guy, just talk to that guy, talk to that guy, just talk to that guy, and you get fucking sent up to a fucking Richard Spencer psycho. How do you feel about them when you see that? How do you feel about them? Not great, right? It's kind of weird to see a marauding horde of faceless weirdos who don't talk, who don't defend themselves, and all follow some random, overly hyper weirdo that has bizarre goals. That's how you come off to average Joes. I'm sorry to say it. Fucking sucks. I mean, if you don't want to hear that and you want to feel better and just be like, all right, fuck it. No, like, I'm just going to do this shit anyway, then do it. Just understand it's got very limited goals. All of the people who are playing the game and getting up into fucking Congress and shit and getting elected, by the way, they all have more of a say than anything that's going to come out of any of this Columbia shit. Any of it. Any of it. Any of it. If your whole thing was like, I just wanted to become, I fucking gave up on being a, thoracic surgeon. I was a thoracic surgeon was my thing, and I fucking threw it away so that I could work at a fucking, get a slightly diminished collegiate job. I would have been making like $500,000 to $750,000 a year. That money that you could have made and bankrolled shit later on in life, that's gone. So you can't bankroll like small candidates now. You know what I'm saying? If you throw away your fucking shit, it's gone. Well, I was going to have a political career, but I acted like a fucking idiot and punched a cop. I punched a cop. I did a breaking and entering. I got a felonious assault at a protest. So now I can't run for fucking office in certain states in America, or maybe any state. I threw away my political aspirations for a moment of violence because I got baited by the oldest fucking tricks in the book, and I didn't listen to anyone except for some fucking dipshit that fucking live streams all the time, and his entire fucking like goals in life is to yell and scream and shout into a fucking microphone. Yes, the world's not fair. No, your fucking righteous anger is not going to change shit. Let me get to this tweet. Yeah, I'm assuming he's talking to rich white people right now. Yeah. Talking to fucking college, maybe not even just white, but like collegiate, wealth-coded individuals and middle-class people in suburbanites. Other motherfuckers get it their own way. You have to play the IRL Chris Dorner DLC if you want to play GTA. True. I'll never fucking say a bad word about Chris Dorner. By the way, if you're like, Tyler, you don't stand for anything, I do. Based Chris Dorner, a madman. Is this that you don't like the way they're protesting, or that you think the way they protest is ineffective because we've seen a historical example of protest like this working? I think historical examples of protests is like a terrible way to like try to articulate protests going forward, because it just, I don't know what a historic example of the protest is. I would have to hear that all articulated, you know what I mean? Like, just on a campus, just there's so many variables that go into what a protest is, not just the size, but the location, the type of location on top of that, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it's a protest in front of a city hall, but is it in front of, like, Selma, or is it in front of Louisville City Hall, or is it in front of like Cincinnati City Hall? What's the age of the people? How many people are there? What's their general like education level? What kind of like jobs do they have? What is their background? The historic example of protests always seems to be boiled down to just such a surface assessment of what's going on that, like, when I actually tried to like say like, okay, but these are the similarities, what are the differences? The differences fucking skyrocket. They skyrocket instantly, And also just thinking about like media impression of stuff, year to year to year to year, it just doesn't really work. And I think a protest is its own individual beast every time it's organized. Like, literally, if there's just a series of people, 500 people get together every day in front of the city hall of a place, I think every time that 500 gather day in and day out is going to be a different protest. And I think everyone else should adopt that mentality too, because that will give you more of an ability to cut away the bad protests, so to say, when you do have one or two bad actors that go and start breaking shit. Or you have a day that, like, this thing happened to throw some sort of fucking, like, throw some shit on the face of the cause. I think that that's a better way to look at it. I don't think that there's a lot of historic examples of types of protest, really. Maybe if you're trying to articulate one specific thing that they were trying to do and the people that try to do it, but, like, it just seems like it's such an per situation variance that I don't know how to fucking make the equivalency. Also, I'm a little bit out of my fucking league, technically speaking, but my biggest thing is if you're doing any protest action, if you're taking any political action, I think that it's more important to try to figure out what the fuck you're trying to accomplish than it is to just feel that your moral imperative requires you to do something, right? Like, but what is the something, Because you can say, like, you can probably think of times where, like, oh, well, the moral imperative that this person had, like, I thought I should just run out onto the train tracks and, like, pick this guy up. Like, okay, yeah, sure. But it was actually just the effect that happened. And it was good that your morality kind of pushed you into a materialist fucking fix for that. Whereas, like, I have this moral belief that every dead person should be baptized to Mormonism to save their souls. And you're like, okay, well, I don't think that does anything. But yeah, well, I morally believe in it, so I'm going to do it. It's like, okay, well, it seems like there's probably a better thing to do with your time, but all right, fine. So no more face masks and glasses. Make sure to mog the cameras. I want to agree with you, but I still feel like you're conflating most people who go to protests as these violent dumbasses that are just looking for a fight anywhere. Here's the thing. I'm not conflating them at all, but everybody else will. And I've been to a shitload of protests. I've covered them. I've participated in them. Your protest is an organization, kind of, whether you want it to not. It's a temporary sort of thing. And your weakest links will define your protest. And there is a pretty unacceptable belief, I believe, especially on the left. More than likely, it's kind of a universal thing, but I don't really care if the other people fuck up their protests. I just don't give a shit. I want the left to look good and do shit right. That bad shit is going to happen at the protest, and we're going to hand wave it no matter what happens. And I think that that's a stupid thing that people do. And so they do make sort of arguments, you know, you hear arguments from the left, from other people where it's like, okay, so you're just trying to say that every one of these protests is bad. It's like, no, but I am saying that when you let people into the protest or around and the protest doesn't police itself to keep bad shit from happening, then the protest itself has shown that it's not in control of itself, first off. So you can't really call it a peaceful protest. It's kind of like an incidentally non-damaging protest. A peaceful protest, I think, is one where there are hard ground rules outlined by people that are organizing the protest that are controlled all the way down. You're just saying all the way down, top to down. Like, hey, look, you do not yell at the cops. Don't yell at the cops. Literally, there's no point. If you see someone yelling at the cops, take them aside, tell them to calm down, bring them back. Hey, we're all going to yell at the cops, okay? Make sure that, you know, everyone that's going to yell at the cops, do it. But no matter what, make sure that it's a cohesive thing. Because a lot of the times, people will say, like, it's a majority safe, it's a majority peaceful, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but you had a lot of people in here that are playing, like, fast and loose with other people that are fucking shit up, and people aren't fucking controlling them. Now, there are protest examples where, I think it was specifically in Kenosha, before dipshit fucking shot all those people, they saw a guy who was like a cop or something wearing a mask with an umbrella who was starting to try to do graffiti stuff, and the protesters went out and fucking like dragged him back and stuff, and were like, no, you gotta fucking get, and the guy like ran away and went to the cops or some shit. I don't know, but either way, the important thing is they stopped him from doing all that stuff. They stopped him because there's no reason for it to happen. If it does happen, there's just no reason for it. Like, what does it accomplish? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to go and fucking break businesses up, do it. Just say, like, we're here to fuck up these businesses, and we're going to keep fucking businesses up until shit changes. Say it. Say it and do it. Like, yeah, this is a violent protest. Just be a violent protest. That's what revolutionaries are supposed to do. Being dishonest and wormy and ratty about shit just makes people not believe what the fuck you're doing, right? So if you just want to go out and say, like, hey, yeah, this was a a violent protest. Like, people were pissed. They wanted to fuck shit up. They feel like they're fucking not being taken. Say that. Say it. You know, but don't let your message get split because your organization or whatever is losing control of the people that they gather. Because it also provides a situation where if you're not controlling people, or if you're letting people believe that it's okay to hand wave stuff, then fucking outside actors can sneak in and wear masks and dress like you and make you look like a fucking asshole because you don't already have something in place to stop that. These aren't difficult things to do. They're not impossible. But there seems to be, on the left especially right now, and I notice it more because I don't give a fuck what the right do. I just want them to always fucking take L's. I will never give them advice or try to fix them. I want them to fucking lose, right? I would tell the left, hey man, look, literally fucking give everybody COVID in your family. Okay, it's the only, herd immunity is the only way forward. But on the left, I want people to fucking do shit better, and I want people to be more effective, and I want people to get hurt less. I want people to get fucking hurt less. Because a lot of the times the people that fucking start shit and break stuff, and they're the reason that you're getting fucking hard kettled and shit, they're gone. And then it is the fucking peaceful protesters who are taking a fucking ass beating, confused as shit. Why did this happen? Well, it's because whoever fucking threw this thing together kind of told everybody, like, you know, we're a little lax. If somebody breaks something, you know, it's not your responsibility to stop someone if you see them spray painting buildings or breaking shit and this and that. So, like, some people will just use a fucking protest as cover to commit crimes. I would do it. In certain circumstances, I'll tell you that much. Dude, there's a whole fucking song about it. You know, April 26, 1992, there was a riot in the streets. Tell me, where were you? You were sitting at home watching your TV. I was participating in some anarchy. First plot we hit was the liquor shop. Only took one beer to make that window drop. I mean, even that song's just like, yeah, we fucking did it because we were fucking pissed and we wanted to fuck the city up. Say that. You know what I mean? People are out here, they want to fuck the city up. Fuck them. Like, people will just, that's fine, you know? Like, it is what it is. I don't condone havoc, but in this case, they are peaceful protests that get riled up by police instigation. I mean, don't get riled up by the police. You know, a lot of the times I don't even I get it. You know, sometimes the cops will do shit, but like there's way better examples of people all the way down the line who just don't lose their minds the second the cops do something. Like, are you going to scream at the cops enough for the cops to not arrest somebody? You know, like, are you going to get in the cop's face? Are you going to get in the cop's way enough to not do it? What is it accomplishing? And I think a lot of times there is like a lot of just bad behavior. Own it. Like if you're like, no, we don't want people to get fucking arrested by the cops. And we do have a little crew of people in face masks and stuff. And they do go in there and try to get between cops and the people they're arresting so they can get away. Yeah, just we have that. It's going to escalate things to the next fucking stage. But like you have to fucking do shit. Own your fucking protests. Like, it's really where it is. Just fucking come out, because I can't take the mealy mouth stuff and the worming around about shit. You would make a great cop, Tyler. I would make a dog shit cop. Sir, are you a fan of FNAF lore? Riot police banging on shields doesn't help with keeping things civil, but what does it do wrong? Like what? Making noise. Like the protest, half the time you get like fucking people with loudspeaker. You're shouting through a megaphone. Like what? They're riot cops. Just leave and go back. They're tired. It's fucking hard for them to walk around and arm. Just keep walking around. Just leave. Come back. I know they're probably in another area. Then you got kettled and stuff. But like fucking stand for that. I mean, play by the rules. Open carry is legal in America. You know what I'm saying? If you got to go to the protest, fucking strapped Zilla. Whatever the fuck. Do what you have to do, but also just make sure your shit works. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like, if every time you go to the protest, you get your ass kicked, nothing fucking changes, and now you're down 2 people because they got arrested, what the fuck was the point of the protest? You know what I mean? Like, to get on the news? There's other ways to get on the news. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not accomplishing anything, what are you doing it for? Is my whole deal. And if it is accomplishing shit, do it more. Fuck, get it, son. Fuck, go out there and fuck people up. Fucking yell and jump and fucking do little turns and stuff. Let's see, yeah, peaceful protests are fine, but it's insanely difficult to keep it from escalating with outside influence, i.e. the cops and counter protesters. But like, the issue is if it's really easy to fucking make you look bad, you know, why is it easy to make you look bad? Like, why are you losing your fucking mind all the time? Like, what, just chill the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally half the time it's calm the fuck down. Because it'll be people up in somebody's face fighting, blah, 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 shouting, blah, 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 blah. Hang out. If you're going to hang out and do a sit-in and get your ass kicked, hang out, do a sit-in, get your ass kicked. Fucking have that shit filmed, put it out there. You know, now I'm getting down to this is why, like, each protest, it's highly fucking specific what the fuck goes on. I think you are all over the place with this one. Your crits are accurate in some circumstances, but big miss on this one. I don't think so. I don't really think so. I think that there's just kind of just an overly intensive belief in protest, but just like going out and yelling as accomplishing shit. And in some cases it works, and in all the cases where it's worked historically, it's because somebody, like, you had like a direct thing that you're trying to accomplish, and like shit, organization really, I think, is the prime. My biggest concern is the lack of organization, really, or organizing in a way that's fucking counterproductive or not even in the direction of an accomplishable goal. Like, that's my biggest concern, really. And then on top of it, from people at my level, just being so like, no matter what happens, I'm pro-protest, being so pro-protest that anybody protesting for your shit is just fine no matter what they do. Just like, literally, I'm just being a propaganda org for like, no matter what the fuck they say, no matter what they do, no matter what happens, no matter how big of a failure it is, I'm only going to say it's right. Anything bad that happens is because somebody else interfered. I'm never going to critically check it out. I'm never going to double check anything. And I'm just going to say, no matter what happens, I'm okay with what happened. Like that kind of stuff, which is, I don't know. If you think that that's politically efficacious and it's going to work for you, go ahead. But I've been seeing it happen for a long time, and it just doesn't seem in those specific cases to work out as much. And there's just a lot of overcommitting, I think, maybe too. I think most people don't want to think of protest as ineffective because it's grim as fuck, not having any real power. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little doomer. The thing is protests work. They do things, right? But they have a limited capability, which I think that's actually good. There's a limited capability of what protest can do. And you can see that evidentiate. Don't think of protests that are on your side. Look at all of the other protests that have occurred on Earth constantly for, a lot of them fail. A lot of them accomplish next to nothing. Remember all those people in fucking Hong Kong with the little umbrellas? Remember how cool that was? Like a fucking 10 million people in the streets? Sorry. Didn't work. Was not the choice that would get it ahead. You guys probably forgot about that until I just literally mentioned it right now. If you go to Washington, D.C., right now there's a protest happening. Who the fuck knows what it is? It might be Israel-Palestine. It might be IMF. It might be some fucking Nazis marching around. It might be Pentecostals against depictions of makeup in television shows. Going out and hearing yourself trying to raise awareness of stuff is cool. But understand, all protests are for raising awareness. There's almost next to no, next to nothing I can think of in my mind where someone protested and then the protest immediately turned into just connected without any other things going on to a successful end, politically, maybe small things, but it's just not something that you can guarantee on. And it's definitely not something that you should overcommit to. Once you've accomplished, set up a thing. We want to get more eyes and ears on this. Good. Maybe it's time to use the rest of your efforts in another direction and try to do something fucking else. That's my opinion. Somebody said, honestly, I feel like the cops being provocative should just be a known element going in. Same is true of having counter protesters present. Yes. True. Honestly, just accept that you don't have enough power on your own and either join protests or live your life. Best way you can change minds is be out there and being yourself. Well, I mean, you don't have to join protests. That's the thing. Protests are not organizations. All organizations are not protests and vice versa. You can join organizations that do all kinds of shit. How about this? Just if you're going to go and you're just fuck, I just want to get out there and yell at somebody and that's it. Just consider taking 5 minutes to just research organizations that just do shit in your area. You know what I mean? And just trying to join that, because I'll tell you what, sometimes you can burn yourself out. I've said this 5,000 times in a row. You can burn yourself out. Burn yourself out doing these protests or get killed or get deeply injured. And if it's not going to get the thing accomplished, but you could have spent the same amount of time doing something else that would have, why not do that? You know what I mean? If there is no need for a thing, then don't fucking overspend on it. No, we didn't forget Hong Kong, but losing a battle does not mean you pack up and give in. Well, that wasn't they lost the war. Hong Kong is now a vassal state, right? It's just Chinese government's in charge of them. That's that. It would be interesting to hear about your previous experience with protests if you haven't already made a segment or video on it. It would be way too long. Just look up all my coverage, because the thing is you guys only think of protests, I think also. People only think of protests in terms of these big, large scale, everybody's talking about it protests. But I've been to so many as a journalist, and I wasn't even a journalist for that fucking long in the time span of my life. And they're all sort of side. They're happening all the time. All the time. If you don't touch grass and you only get on the internet, you might have a conflated sense of the effectiveness of protest because you're only seeing it through the lens of effective protests that people have talked about. But I mean, I've been to just tons of little ones for things that you wouldn't even think of, probably, you know, just little tiny tons of little union protests, protests by cops against their own department for like tiny little reasons. What the fuck was that? I can't even fucking remember where that was, but that was a cop union. I covered it. It was a cop. Either I covered it or somebody that was in my newsroom. Fuck. Was that in North Dakota? That might have been. But it was a microscopic protest by the cops for flak jacket improvements by their union. And it wasn't like a big deal. It was just like 9-10 cops, little signs where the guy had to go. And I guess that probably fucking worked because, you know, cop union protest. I went to, like, when Occupy was happening, I went to like 2 or 3 of those on campus. I already told you I had to walk on campus through 5,000 fucking protests a year. I had to cover a bunch of those just for the student newspaper here, there. Those are on all sorts of different shit. Literally impossible to fucking remember. The most notable one was, as I said, the one with the vagina pictures, because it was a whole conversation about how to post any fucking pictures of that one, let me tell you. And the thing is most of them, even if they don't necessarily even like fail, they're just only a singular small part of political processes that cause the change that the people at the protest want to happen. You know what I mean? And so, like, don't think that your effort is going to be, well, first off, don't think it's going to be wasted. You might actually get out there and accomplish a lot. I'm not going to tell you not to protest. Get out there and be heard. Do it. But don't think that that is the end of the fight. Don't even think it's the beginning. You're probably just a middle actor in the middle of stuff. You know, just don't conflate your participation, however minor or major, with, you know, like the most effective thing ever. I'm just saying, be realistic about your expectations and be realistic about your goals and be realistic about how much effort and energy you expend on this shit. And stop letting people convince you that you're heroes. Also, if you're doing the right thing, you're not a fucking hero. You're just a good human being, okay? Telling fucking college kids to get their fucking asses kicked and take over. These are heroes. Like, I would call somebody fucking scrapping with the IDF a hero first. Things like Iran and Hong Kong protests doing nothing yet makes me a bit more doomer every time I see it. Just, that's the thing. Don't be so hyper focused on protest specifically. There's a lot of political action you can take. It's just a lot. There's a lot. And if you start getting in a position where you have to say in your mind that every protest is important and it's going to be the biggest, this is the end of all time, this protest is the most important thing ever, if this protest doesn't succeed, you will mentally attach yourself to a brick that necessarily will be thrown into an ocean with a questionable amount of cord between your ankle and the bottom. Like, don't put all your eggs in a basket. I'm not really going too hard. I'm on your side, technically speaking, but just because I'm on your side doesn't mean I'm going to agree with the actions that you're taking. You know what I mean? Like, every fucking pro-Palestine person, I'm not on their side. Not all of them, because, like, some of them are fucking psychos. Some of them just have some of them don't even understand what it means. Some people just have a wrong belief in what the fuck is going to change things for the better. That's the issue. Like, we're not all on the same side. We're not all of the same. No, we're on the same side, but we're not all of the same. We're not all in agreement on what should go ahead. And there should not be an understanding that you have to preemptively agree with everything that's happening just because somebody's on your side. Have we started the segment? No, we have not yet started the segment. I think this is a good thing to talk about. And like I said, Thursday's call-ins. If you guys want to chat about it, you can chat about it. Tyler, do you think the campus protests are going wild generally, or is this referring to past memories of Occupy BLM? I mean, going wild is a little bit much. I just think I think probably most of them. I think I looked up how many. I can't remember the number. I don't even think there really was one. I was doing research of this like just temporarily on like Friday and just trying to figure out how many places. I think basically every college almost, or so many colleges that it's a very, very high number, have some degree of pro-Palestine protest here or there. They're all of different sizes. Some of them you messed up. Some of them you haven't. That's kind of it. Get out there and protest if you want. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead and do it. But I think most of the people that showed up in these pictures and stuff, or that are getting videoed, they're not getting videoed just because, like, you know, like, oh shit, this is a slander against them. I think a lot of them fucked up pretty bad on what they were trying to accomplish. There's a lot of mistakes being made, but less this time than there was last time, and less than that time than the time before. Everyone's getting better at it, by the way. There was a lot of people fucking up during like the Breonna Taylor protests in fucking Louisville. Just fucking up and fucking shit up for other people that were on our side. It goes all the way back to time immemorial that you have a few dipshits that go, and just keeping the dipshits under control is probably more important sometimes than even just being there. This is just going to have to be a hard disagree for me. Labeling them as riots when people are peacefully protesting most of the time and then retaliating when being attacked is wild for real. Did I say anything about riots? I don't think I did. Opinion on blocking highways. I've already said this before, but I'm pretty much 100% behind against it. Like, you would have to prove. I need to see the one time it's done anything other than piss everybody off in a way that's not highly negative. You know. Like, I've gotten out of this before. I don't want to derail too much more. I still got to talk about this shit. Come on now. Fuck it. I've talked about this shit too much now. Now my heart's not in it anymore. Oh, nothing works. Nothing works. Sad. I agree with you on the necessity of an actual victory condition and the left's fetishization of protest, but I feel as though you're too sympathetic to the cops and people in power. I'm not sympathetic to them at all. Understand that there's a very different line between sympathy and understanding, right? Cops are a known entity. They are human beings, right? Sorry, I know some of you are upset. I'm an ACAB dude. I fucking don't like police, but I know how to deal with them. That's why I'm not in jail right now. That's why I'm not dead right now. Unironically. I've had cops tell me literally to my face that they wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. You guys think you're anti-cop? I have gotten motherfuckers in so much goddamn trouble. I have lit entire departments fucking up. One department, I'm not going to say which because, you know, it is what it is. I FOIA'd them so hard. I just literally knew where to file the request. I filed a request that they had to respond to that was so fucking, like, perfect. It was so perfect that they had to fix their entire record keeping system. They had to change all of how they kept their records, which, by the way, Tyler, that's not what Hassan would say, go fuck yourself to a cop, and that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, okay. Well, I literally made extra fucking, like, dog work for them that down the line would turn into other people being able to get their records easier. So, win me. I've also gotten a cop fired, but that was because of fucking sneaky Tyler shit. It's a different story completely. Trust me. You know that fucking Black Dynamite thing? I'm more militant than you. You guys, motherfuckers, y'all don't even know. You're like, Tyler, you're not fucking, like, you haven't even played the game yet. I'm trying to get you guys caught the fuck up. Trust me, if you agree with me on stuff and then all of a sudden I start saying something that you disagree with, come and talk to me first and foremost. But also consider the possibility that you might be holding on to it a little harder than maybe you should. And that's fine because you're a human being. I'm not mad at any of you. I'm not mad at any of you for disagreeing with me. And there's probably a few of you that might even have like a fairly salient point. I just can't read everybody's shit. But understand, cops are human beings. All right? They have human being fucking motivations. They have human being desires. And they can be manipulated and coerced and instigated and controlled like every other fucking human being on fucking earth. Okay? They are always going to do stuff. They are always going to do shit. Almost every single cop reaction, almost all of them, because they have rules to follow, is going to be by some sort of book, right? There is going to be a rule set in place that you can predict to some degree, and you can use that to your benefit. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to, but I'm telling you, there's people that know how to fucking play the game, and there's people that don't. And sometimes when you're getting your when you're fucking laying down on the fucking the pavement getting your shit kicked in, and it's fucking 2024, and you look like me, and your parents are richer than mine by a bit, you're probably the one that fucked up. Understand that. There are still racists out there. There's still pieces of shit. But if you can figure out how to fuck with people's behavior in a way that's going to give you the result that you can work with, even if it's, I want to fucking get this person to do something racist or stupid on camera, understanding them is important. It's going to maybe come off like sympathizing because you're humanizing somebody. I do that with all my enemies. It's what helps me get victory conditions. That's how you beat people. You understand who they are as a person, and you creepy crawl inside their fucking head and pull them apart like a fucking sweater. That is fucking an actual real thing that you can do. Okay? I'm just telling you right now. You can fucking creepy crawl right in people's heads. You can fucking engineer behavior. You don't believe me? Ask fucking Pirate Software. He'll give you 15 courses on it. It's real shit. Does it feel good? Oh no, Tyler, the morality of my cause and my righteous fury should be the only thing that I require for victory. Sorry. Someone else convinced you of that so that you would lose. That's the case. And then you would come back to them for fucking pity party time. That's why people told you that. The real case is you have to understand cops, understand how they act, and understand the people you're actually trying to communicate. If you're trying to win dubs to impress other leftists who are already on your side, I mean, congratulations. You figured out the first step in a grift, all right? You figured it out. Do stuff that other people will agree with you, whether or not it's good for your cause. You can do that all you want. Do it relentlessly. Do it all the fucking time. Just don't do it on my side of the fucking... Don't do it where I can see you, or I'll call you out on it. But if you want to fucking accomplish shit, try to fucking understand all of what is happening and fucking twist the world to your fucking... to your view of it. You know what I mean? Make the shit that you want to see happen. The only way to do it is by understanding the variables that are going into any situation. Sometimes you're fucked. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes people break the rules or they bend them in a way that they can't be fucking held to account. Okay, shit, fuck. You have to take that fucking L on the chin and move on. But trying to go in and just saying like, okay, hey, everything's literally out of my control. I have no ability to do anything. Every time I go out and protest, it's just a fucking, oh my God, no one's on my side, blah, 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 bellyache. Well, obviously, first off, I don't want to fucking have you in control of anything. You shouldn't be fucking running shit. Because if all of your fucking endeavors are just resulting in your people getting their fucking asses kicked and nothing being moved forward on your side, then what fucking good are you? You know what I mean? You're just like, what, you're inspiring people to take fucking ass beatings? I can do that. Jesus, I could have just stayed in the military and fucking gotten that done. You know what I mean? But like, the thing is, you have to fucking understand, have a goal. First off, anybody that's disagreed with me and you have anything shy of an actual goal in your head, and a goal is not like peace in the Middle East. That's not a goal. That's a world that no one's lived in yet. Okay, that's utopia. That's non-such place. That's Ozymandias' kingdom. It is beyond us. All right. But if you're trying to accomplish literally, I want my school to divest from some org, okay? Maybe one of the ways, we're going to spitball out here, maybe one of the ways is to protest on campus in a general sense. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the ways. Maybe another way is to protest on campus a little bit further down the line, but also to make sure to do a somehow get out in a news cycle, do some digging, figure out at least one company that is doing something highly fucking illegal and push that everywhere. Push it everywhere. That don't literally never stop repeating it. Have every single person that is in your fucking crew know how to say three things, right? We're here until Halliburton disarms, or we're here until until our college divests from Halliburton. Halliburton's bombs have killed this many people since this. The blah, 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 blah type bomb was dropped 952 times on Palestine. And every time that happened, $3 went into the pocket of Dean fucking whatever. There you go. Those are called talking points. That's how you do politics in America. If you want to be fucking above the system by somehow being underneath it while getting crushed by the fucking boot of it, okay, I can't take that away from you. You're morally perfect. You are better than me. You win. Congratulations. Tomorrow somebody's going to get up and they're going to get the fucking cereal and you're not going to get shit. They're going to early bird you because they know how to play the game and you fucking don't. That is what has to happen. That's what has to happen for shit to change. You tack investigation, understanding an issue, having a goal, having talking points, having facts that people can always fucking resort to, having organization, having a fucking bunch of people together that are on message will get you way further. Because you can talk all the shit you want about the cops, but they show up with fucking all of their stuff. You know what they say? Calm down. Stop resisting. They got a message. They have a message. They're on it every time. Hey, fuck you, officer. Okay, stop resisting. Stop resisting. They're on message. They are a fucking known quantity that you have to work around, all right? And work around them. Understand what's going on. Have somebody that talks to the police. Know their names. I'll tell you what. If you start learning, the cops are all human beings. Learn their names and be like, Andy, why are you doing this? Like, seriously, talk to Jennifer. Hey, Sergeant, do you know their ranks? Do you know their names? Do you know how to figure out who they are? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Sergeant, Corporal, please, whatever. Try to humanize yourself in their eyes. Do stuff. Fucking get inside their minds. Get inside the orgs that you're trying to change and stop just saying, like, I'm going to fucking sit here and piss my pants until the fucking world's different. I don't know. I guess that sometimes that happens. Sometimes that changes shit. It's never been the case for me. It is actually one of the things that is most divorced from my understanding of how to change the world is to literally do next to nothing and take an ass beating. It is just antithetical to my nature. And it's antithetical to most of the systems that I have investigated and reported on to be like, that's specific. Oh, we're done now. We're finished. And I'm not saying that that's the case with a lot of people. Other motherfuckers might be getting in on it. But the fact of the matter is at my level, the people I can control, the people I can talk to, the messages that I can get out, when I fucking say stuff and then you guys fucking repeat it, is I don't want to hear fucking, all right, the thing we need to focus on right now is the cops are beating people's asses, as though that has never fucking happened before. Of course it does. But like, we need more. We need more because that's not going to be enough. Because first off, on the other side, they like that. That's a fucking win for them. They fucking hate you. They want to see you get fucked up. But also, like, what else? Like you should want more. Like, you should criticize the protesters. You should show that you are fucking critical of them because that shows a connection to them. I want them to be better. I want this to occur. They did really good that time. You know what I mean? Because, like, is there anything else in your life that you're like, do you have a sports team that you root for that you're always just like, no matter what happens, I'm for the Bengals today. I'm a Bengals guy. I would never say anything critical about them or be like, oh, come the fuck on. You want people to be better. Sometimes you have to complain about them. You have to say, like, I don't fucking know why they're doing this. I don't feel like you're getting your message out. And I'm getting your message secondhand through people that are on your side. It's not like I'm going straight to Fox News. I don't have fucking cable. I get all of my opinions I have developed, by the way, on these protests. I've gotten by listening to Demon Mama, Vosh, Hassan, Destiny, The Majority Report, and to a lesser extent, somebody whose name I cannot fucking remember because they were a tiny little person and I didn't listen to them that long. I think actually no. And also Brooks over there on the on President Sunday stream, I think talked about them a little bit. I listened to that. And so, it's all around. It's all around. If that's the largesse of the fucking opinions I'm getting stuff from is these groups of people. And if you're freaking out, you're like, would you listen to Destiny for 2 seconds? Like, I can't even remember what his opinions are because I fucking ignore them half the time. He's the closest thing I get to balanced out, and he was just stupid as fuck about it. But that's pretty much it.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.